Welcome to the training session today. I am going to walk you through how to advocate at the Texas legislature. My name is Nancy Thompson. I'm the founder of Mothers Against Greg Abbott, and I'm just going to walk you through a lot of information. So if you want, you can grab a notepad and a pen and let's get started. In the chat box, open up the chat. So if you have a question as we go along, you can raise your hand or you can put it in the chat window. I have my chat window open and I'm just going to start hitting it. We'll see what we can figure out. Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. So our plan at Mothers Against Greg Abbott, this legislative session, our plan is to educate, support, track, and score. We plan on educating Texans about what they can do during the Texas legislature. We plan on supporting the legislators themselves. Um, we support the legislators themselves by getting a notice on what bills need attention. And then we hope to support with a rapid response team when needed, as well as showing up for committee hearings, as well as uplifting on social media. I am going to just quickly mute everybody really quick, just to be safe. Okay. Okay, the next thing is, we do all of this stuff, we support them, we put together a rapid response team to show up at the Capitol, we support as much as we can on social media. And then after we do all of this support, we are going to start tracking bills. So we currently have a legislative team of approximately 30 people. This team is tracking bills on all different types of topics. So we'll go through the topics in just a second. So they track all of these bills. They are also going to tell us when committee hearings happen. So we'll be able to have our rapid response team and our ledge team, combine them together and call in some calls to action. When the calls to action go out, that is when we're really going to encourage as many Texans as we know to respond on a certain bill or issue at the Capitol and have some rapport with their legislator. So we're going to teach you all how to open that up and how to have reports with your legislators from no matter where you are. The last thing we're going to do as a group and as the ledge team is we're going to score the mother's report card. So the mother's report card is where we make a report card on every single person that is in office at the Texas legislature, whether they are a Democrat or Republican. We just kind of give an overview in the report card. All right, so there's a lot of important dates, but a really big date is coming up tomorrow. So first of all, just a little FYI, the first day that you can file a bill is actually the Monday after the general election day in November. So for this past year, that was November 11th. And you can file bills starting the first day of the Texas Ledge all the way to 60 days. So the last day to file a bill is going to be March the 12th. Now, tomorrow, Tuesday, January 14th, is the day that the Texas legislature begins. So I'm going to be up there at the Texas Ledge, meeting with some legislators and going through all the pomp and circumstance that day. And I'm really excited about it. Then our last day of the Texas legislature, because it only meets for a very short period of time, the last day is June the 2nd. Okay, and they usually call this Cindy or Sendai, however you want to pronounce it, but it is the last day of the session. All right, so who are the key players at the Texas Ledge? Well, the main key players are the ones that get elected, and let's just start at the top. First, you have your governor. He is the head of the executive branch. He's the guy who signs the bills. Then you have the lieutenant governor. Well, the lieutenant governor is also a person who gets elected by the general public, just like the governor does. However, his position's pretty unique because he is unlike the Speaker of the House, he is elected by all of us. And he's elected statewide. He's not elected by the senators, but he's one of the most powerful figures in Texas politics. He controls the flow of the legislation that goes in and out of the Senate, and he is in control of making key assignments on committees in the Senate. Then we have the Speaker of the House. So currently, we do not know who the Speaker of the House is going to be. They're going to vote on this tomorrow. So tomorrow is the beginning of voting for who becomes the Speaker of the House. And as you know, currently in Texas, this is a highly contested seat at the moment. There is a lot of upheaval around who gets to be Speaker of the House, and we'll just see what happens tomorrow. I have no idea what to expect, but the Speaker of the House is elected by House representatives, and he gets elected on the very first day of the ledge. Right after they all get sworn in, they go straight, they elect the Speaker of the House. The Speaker of the House sets the agenda. They appoint the committee chairs, and they play a major role in deciding what bills move forward and what bills get moved onto the calendar and then go to the next chamber, things like that. So it's a very, very important position. So the key issues at Mothers Against Greg Abbott during this legislative session are public education, women's health care, LGBTQ rights, gun safety, voting rights, border and immigration, and energy and environment. So those are the top areas where we're going to be grading this legislative session. So in case you don't know, this is a graph on how a bill becomes a law. First of all, there is an idea out there. Okay, someone has an idea. The person who has an idea can be, excuse me, can be the legislator, can be someone in the legislative staff, can be an advocate, can even be a lobbyist. So an idea happens, a bill gets written, and it gets filed. Okay, so this can happen both in the House and in the Senate. It gets filed. After it gets filed, it gets a number, and then that bill goes to committee. In the committee decides which bills they're going to hear. Committees are, there's a lot of them, okay? The Senate has fewer committees, but the House has a lot of committees. And each of the committees has different themes of topics that they discuss. And so all of the bills will get sent to the committee that's most appropriate for that particular bill. From the committee, let's just say that a bill makes it out of committee, it goes to the calendars. From the calendars, that particular bill goes ahead and goes to the floor, and it's up for debate. A lot of things that do happen in the committee is that they have public hearings, and that's when we ask people, hey, can you show up and speak about a certain bill or a certain topic? So that's usually when a lot of the work happens. So most of the work, legislative work in the Texas Ledge, happens at the committee level. So let's say that the bill goes to calendars, it goes to the floor, it goes up for debate, they vote on it. Let's say the bill passes. If the bill passes, it goes to the second chamber. So if it's the bill started in the House, it goes to the Senate. If it started in the Senate, it goes to the House. And if the bill doesn't pass, it's dead. So let's pretend that the bill passes and it goes to the other house. So let's pretend that's the Senate. It goes to the Senate. And once it's in the Senate, it goes through the process all over again, the one that we just saw in the House. So it goes to a committee, it has a hearing. From there, it goes to the calendars. They set it up to where there is a debate on the floor and it goes up for a vote. So you have a bill that passed both the House and the Senate. So what happens then? All of that information gets funneled into something called the conference committee, funnels into the conference committee. In the conference committee, they go through and make sure that the bill, everything looks good. They make changes to amendments, they edit, they just make sure that the bill is nice and tidy, considering that it was in two different chambers. So from there, that bill is delivered to the governor's desk. The governor can do one of three things. So he could sign the bill and the bill becomes a law on September 1st. He could not sign the bill and the bill becomes a law on September 1st, or he can veto the bill, and the Texas Ledge can override the veto by 2/3 of a vote in both chambers. This rarely happens, though, because often in a strategy, the governor tends to hold on to a lot of bills until right towards the very, very end of the Texas Ledge. And by that time, everybody's just done. No one's going to call everybody back in to have a vote. So it rarely, rarely happens that a bill gets overridden by 2/3 of a vote in the Senate and the House, and they override the governor's veto. That just does not really happen very often. So who advocates at the Texas Ledge? Well, you know, I love these like, you know, pyramid graphs. So we have to think of ourselves and all Texans as a pyramid. First of all, you have the general public at the bottom. There are a lot of us. We are sometimes aware, sometimes not aware, really not involved in what's going on in the day-to-day business at the Capitol. We know a lot of people like this. Most people are in this area where they actually don't even know how often the Texas Ledge meets. They're just not really that aware. Then you have the supporters. These are people that engage passively. They sign petitions. They might retweet something on social media. They kind of know things are going on, but they're not going to drive down to Austin. Okay, so those are supporters. Then we have the advocates. The advocates are actually people like myself, and I see several of you here, also advocates. They are the ones that take direct action at the Texas legislature. They meet with the lawmakers. They show up to testify against policies or, for or against policies. And they're the ones that show up. A lot of work gets done by the advocates. Then you have this smaller group at the very top. These are the lobbyists. Things to remember about the lobbyists is that they are divided up by special interests. That's why there's so many different associations. A lot of the times when you think of there's like an association of surgeons. There's like different associations with topics. Those are very specific groups or clubs that show up and they lobby at the Capitol on behalf of that organization. So they can tend to be just a really, really small group, but they have a lot of money usually. And they also sometimes write the bills themselves, like they have lawyers on the team that put together some bills. They give them to the lawmakers, and then they work with the lawmakers to write a bill for a particular legislative session. So that is the lobbyists. So even though there's a lot more of us than lobbyists, because they have deep pockets, they're able to influence quite a bit. Now, I'm going to teach you guys a few ways where you can find your legislator, but if you go to this URL, and I'm going to send you all a master list of links after this is over, and if you go to this URL and you can look up who represents you. So you just fill out this information, your street address, your city, your zip code, and you press enter. And what happens is you're going to get an image like this one on the right, where it will give pinpoint where you live or a general area, and it will tell you who all of the people who represent you that are in elected office. It will have links to all of them right below. So this is not my address, but this happens to be, these are my representatives. So Lloyd Doggett, Don Howard, Sarah Urquhart, and they are all listed here. All of these are listed here right below. And if you're on the website, they're all dynamic and it'll take you straight directly to their pages. So that's really useful. So let's see. From there on their pages, you're able to access their contact information and just know how to get in contact with them. Okay, if you hear a cat meowing, that's my cat. Sorry. He is very loud. I locked him out of the room because he likes to jump on me. Anyway, okay, so how to engage with your legislators? Well, there's so many different ways we can engage with our legislators, and thank God for technology because it increases the different ways we can engage with them even more. So First, you can call their office either at the Capitol or at their district office. So, just to let you all know, when you elect somebody to the ledge, they have to, like, let's say somebody lives in Dallas. They have an office, of course, at the Capitol, but they also have district offices in their district where they live. So they have an office in Dallas. I live in Austin, and my representative, Donna Howard and Sarah Urquhart, they don't have an office in Travis County. Their office is actually at the Capitol. So they don't have another separate offsite office other than the Capitol. Their office is at the Capitol since it's right here in Travis County. So a lot of the Central Texas legislators, they just tend to have the office at the Capitol to save money. So you can call their office, either at the Capitol or the district. You can send them an email. You can also even send them snail mail. So when you send them snail mail, they love it because, who doesn't like snail mail? So you can just send them regular letter, handwritten, or written on your desktop computer, and send them a letter. Next is you can make an appointment to go and visit them in their office. And we're going to give you some more specifics on that next, in just a sec. So we need to focus on building positive relationships with our legislators, even if they're on the other side. So why do we build relationships? Well, personal connections are really key into influencing their decisions. They need to know that we're here, that we exist, that we have issues, and that we want them to advocate for us. So here's a couple of things we need to do. So tips for success. Start attending their district events. Demonstrate that you are interested in what they're doing and that you want to engage with them. Find common ground wherever you're able to find it. And I understand a lot of these legislators is hard. It's hard. But try to find something where you really feel like there's some common ground. Also, share your stories with them. Share your stories and become a resource for your cause. So, like, for example, I have a special needs son. I might be a resource for Donna Howard about my special needs son, and she might call on me in the future. Things like that. Get to know your official. Get to know who they are. Follow them on social media. Get to know like what their priorities are. Are they a supporter of a bill? Are they a bystander? Or are they non-supporter of an issue? Understanding their background and their connection really kind of helps you understand the district priorities even more. Like, for example, like Molly Cook and Donna Howard are both nurses. I expect to see a few more medical bills written by them just because of their background in nursing in the medical industry. So just things like that. Just those are like little, things that I think influence the type of bills that they write. And it's just something to remember in the background, depending on what your interest is on a particular bill. You kind of have to remember what experience does my legislator have in this particular area. So when you do talk to your legislator, just remember to be respectful and have a good rapport with them. Advocacy is a marathon. So just don't give up after one attempt. You have to keep on going and keep on going. And also, advocacy is not limited to the legislative session. It really is year around, all the time. So if they're not in session, don't be afraid of not calling them. Keep on calling them. It's really important to keep in touch with your legislators as much as you can, especially when they're not in session. How to interact with staff. Well, I have some news for you. Most of the time, when you contact your legislator's office, you're really going to speak to a staff member. So my first bit of advice here is never turn down a meeting with a staff member. During the ledge sessions, legislators are really busy and staff is often taking the meetings for the legislators and reporting back to legislators. So the staff tend to be policy advisors and they can really become allies of yours. So please, please, please be kind to them, be professional, be polite, be mindful of the time that they set aside to spend with you. Come prepared with your personal contact information that you are willing to share with the staff member. Sometimes that is like a written letter or a plain business card that has your name, your email, your phone number, your address. Leave this information with the staff member so the staff member is able to report back to the legislator and let them know that you stopped by to visit them and what your issue or concerns were. So the staff is really critical in advancing your advocacy efforts and building strong relationships. And so if you walk into an office and you're rude to them, do you think they're going to give the legislator your card? Probably not. That is why we have to remember to be as kind as possible. So tips for meeting with your legislator or staff. One is review your goals. What is your why? Why would you like to meet with your legislator? What do you hope to achieve? And I'm going to tell all of you that write that down. What is your why statement? Why do you want to meet with them? Be very clear on your why before you pick up the phone and ask them for a meeting. So you got your why statement down. You know why you want to meet with them. What do you do next? Well, you make an appointment. You talk to your legislator by contacting either their office at the Capitol or their district office, and you explain to them why you want to meet with them. You can, give them your why statement. You can talk to them and really be realistic about your abilities to travel. Are you able to travel to Austin, or do you want to meet with them in their district office? If you can't come to Austin, want to meet with them in the district office, make a phone call to the district office. Don't get caught being bounced around from office to office. Just go straight to the district office. Next is be on time. Be on time because time is of the essence. Everybody's really busy. Be on time. It's better for them to be late than for you to be late. Okay. So be on time. Be prepared. So prepare your statements, prepare your information, any graphs, any information that you want to leave with your legislator. Get all of that packet or anything that you want to leave with them prepared ahead of time. Make a copy, maybe 2 copies, and make sure that you take it with you on your appointment. When you are there, stay on topic. Don't get off topic. Remember, stay on topic. A lot of times it's like take deep breaths, slow down, stay on topic. Communicate with impact. Okay. Ask for action. Ask for your legislator to do something. Tell them what you want. Ask for an action. And then after you leave the office, make sure that you follow up your appointment by thanking them and outlining the points that you made during your meeting and thanking them so much for their time. So earlier, I talked about all of the committees that our Texas legislators are in. So the first 2 columns on the left are all the different House committees. Then they have joint committees. Joint committees have members of both the Senate and the House. And then there's also special committees in that area. And then we also have Senate committees. Senate committees are just senators. There's fewer of them, but we have to remember there's 31 senators and there's like 150 House members. So of course there's fewer of them. How to track a bill. Give me a second. I need to take a deep breath. I've been talking for a little bit. Let me get a drink of water really quick. Okay. So when you go to the Texas legislators website, go to the Texas Ledge website, and there are 2 different options. First is there's this option here at the top, capitol.texas.gov. And on there, I'm going to show you in a screen capture where you can go to get the mobile version. So I would say make sure you bookmark both of the URLs for when you need it, when you're on your cell phone or whether or not you're on your desktop. So we have the URLs there, and I'll share with you where you can find them as well. Select the legislative session. Okay, select the legislative session, and when you select the legislative session, it's a drop down at the very top. It was not active a couple days ago. It's probably active today, but it'll be ready to go by tomorrow morning. So on this legislative session, you're able to go to your specific session, and our session is 89R. for 89th regular session. Okay. And on there, you're able to do a pull down for the particular session, and you're able to look up bills on a very, very friendly website. You can either enter keywords or you can enter a bill number, and then you click go, and then your bill should come up. You can also go under additional searches and you can do some additional searches there. And I'm going to walk you through that website in just a sec. So, how to find out what is happening at the Capitol? Well, I'm going to show you what that website looks like in just a minute. But the easiest way to find out what's going on at the Capitol is that same page that I just talked about. To show you what that page looks like, I'm going to walk you through where you can find out what is happening every day because it's super duper easy. And we just have to get in the habit of logging in there every day, first thing in the morning, find out what's going on at the Capitol that day. You look up a few things. You look up today's calendars, you look up today's meetings, you look up what bills were filed that day, any votes, is there any bill that's going to be going down to the floor for a vote? And then also all the committee meetings, for the most part, should be video broadcasted. Sometimes some committee meetings are not available by video because it was voted upon that they not be videoed. But for the most part, most committees are available by video. So I'm going to show you where all of that is in just a sec. Here we are. This is what the website looks like. This is a sample of the desktop version and the mobile version. And basically, they're both the same. It's just that the layout's a little bit different. You might have to scroll a little bit more on the mobile version, but it's about the same. So when you need to find out what is going on that day, I would look over here underneath legislative activity. You can look to see what's going on for video broadcasts, calendars, meetings, the bills that were filed that day, the votes that were up for being voted on that day. You can look at all of that information for both the House and the Senate on this website right here. If you need the mobile version of this website, you can click on the mobile version right here on the top right. This gives you the mobile version. You can also enter who represents me. Who represents me is over here on the bottom. There's so much information on one page. It's kind of crazy. And then the section that I told you where you select the legislative session you're in, that's right here at the top. Legislator, it says 88 fourth special session, but it will say 89th R. Okay. So, and then you can look up either a bill number or a word phrase. So you might want to look up bills on Medicaid expansion. So you can type in Medicaid expansion, press go, and all the bills that use the word Medicaid expansion should be able to come up when you do that bill search. So you can search for bills by a text. You can look up bills by a number or just a phrase. There are statutes. You can look up the Constitution of Texas. You can look at some reports. You can view current votes and past votes. There's so much information on this page that is available to you. So my advice to you is to get comfortable with this page, get used to looking up bills, know where everything is, and know that you can find most everything from this one website. Also, one of the things I'm going to recommend is that you set up a user ID for this website, because when you do that, you're able to track bills. You can track the legislation. You can receive alerts. So if there's any changes to any bills that you're interested in, you will get an alert that there's been a change to a bill. So that is also just really important. You can subscribe to some feeds that will get sent to you. It just makes your life a lot easier if you're able to do that just as a regular Texan. Just go in there, set up an account, figure out which bills you want to track, and start following them. And all of this information is available on the mobile version as well. It's just like vertical, it's just up and down. Okay, so I moved a few things in the slideshow around compared to the training I did before because I want to talk about dropping a card. So a long time ago, there's this term called how to drop a card. A long time ago, you would drop a card. You had a physical card that you go in there and you'd fill it out and you'd drop it in a box, and it was called dropping the card. Well, now that we have technology, we still use the term dropping a card, but trust me, nobody's dropping a card, okay? Dropping a card refers to your position on a bill at the Texas Capitol. This happens only during the committee hearing phase. Okay. So when the committee hearings, like the education committee is having hearing phase, that's when you can go and drop a card about the education committee. Dropping a card has to be done in person. You use the Capitol Wi-Fi at one of the kiosks, and the kiosks are by the hearing rooms. So there tends to be hearing or meeting rooms basically downstairs in the extension. They're on two different levels. They're in the corners. And then there's a hallway, a really thin hallway where you can go to the legislators' offices. And on that hallway are some computers that are just like connected to the wall. Those are the witness monitors where people can drop a card and they fill out all this information to sign up to become a witness. And I'll talk about a witness on that next slide. But you fill out information, and filling out that information and signing up to become a witness is pretty close to the same thing. You're using the same monitor. Okay. So dropping card is only available on the day that the bill is being heard by the committee. You can register up to an hour before the committee hearing starts until the public testimony part of the committee hearing is over. Um, just FYI, if you go to the Capitol, you are eligible to park at the Capitol for free for 2 hours at the visitor garage. And the visitor garage is on Trinity, 12th Street in San Jacinto. It's in that area, and you get free parking for 2 hours. So you can register for your position. And on the dropping the card thing, you say whether you're for a bill, against a bill, or you're neutral. And then you can also tell the committee if you plan to testify. Yes, I'm going to testify. No, I'm not going to testify. Doing all this is pretty quick. If you just want to run in and out, if you plan ahead, it's probably about 15 minutes. Okay, so that's with a little bit of planning ahead, you can do this in about 15 minutes. Also, FYI, I would say go down in person at least the first time so you know where everything is. But once you're comfortable, you might be able to fill out and drop your card and just be right outside the Capitol, or just walk in the door and just kind of log into their computer system and be able to drop your card from their computer system. And maybe not have to go all the way down to the extension. But the internet is kind of tricky at the Capitol, so I wouldn't necessarily count on it. If I were you, I would still go down to the kiosks because their Wi-Fi is temperamental. Okay, here are some tips for how to testify at the Capitol. Okay, first things first, you better verify that there's actually a committee hearing that day, because you don't want to drive all the way down to Austin or park and go through the hassle and drive all the way down for a committee hearing, and if it's not on the calendar. So I think a good habit to get into is, if you know you want to go and you want to testify, get up that morning and make sure that that hearing is still on the calendar. Hearings are known to be canceled at the last minute. Something happens. I know that there was like moments last year where they did have to move around some hearings, they moved around one because somebody had passed away, and there was a couple other little things that happened last year. So it's always a good idea to just double check and verify that a hearing is happening, that it's on the calendar, and they're calling for public testimony. Because sometimes they'll have a hearing, but it's not open to the public. Okay, so when you go, make sure that you dress up in business attire. Whatever you're the most comfortable wearing, just be confident. Something you're comfortable wearing. You don't have to wear a suit, but just look nice. Make a plan to park close by. I already told you all where the visitor parking was, but I also want to tell you all something else. If you know you're going to be there for a really, really long day, you might want to park in a parking garage for one of the businesses along Congress or close by, because sometimes those parking garages will charge you $10 a day. And trust me, parking at the Capitol garage, if you're there for a really long day, it could add up. And just FYI, you might get a very large bill or you can pay $10. So just think about that. Think about what kind of day you're going to have and whether or not you want to park at the Capitol versus another business office close by. Okay, the Capitol has four entrances. Okay, four entrances: north, south, east, and west. The main entrance that is beautiful that we always look at, looking up from Congress Avenue, that is actually the south steps. Okay, so that's not the north entrance, that's the south entrance. The north one is the one on the other side of the building. Okay, that's the north one. Um, During the Texas legislature, of course, they have lots of school groups that are coming through, and you might see these really huge lines. So don't be intimidated by these really huge lines. You might just want to just go walk around, go to another door. Everything's fine. Just go to another door. FYI, the door at the north end, that is the closest to like the parking garage for a lot of the electeds and their staff members. So that door tends to just not have as much traffic because there's not as many of them. Once they're in the morning, they're in. It's not as busy. So just FYI. Um, so along with that, I'm going to show you where you can find some maps of the Capitol grounds and the surrounding areas. It's always a good idea for you to print out the maps before you go so you know where you're going and you know where the offices are of the legislators. And it'll just help you feel a lot more secure and more, prepared to be there. You will find the kiosks where you register to speak. They're all at the new extension, which is like the new extension is not that new anymore. It's like 20 years old. So I really need to quit thinking of it as the new extension, but it's not part of the main Capitol. You have to take the elevator down. You can go to the E1 level or the E2 level, go down and then find out what level your committee hearing's on, and then just walk towards that room. And there are kiosks again, kind of behind the major committee rooms. They're in like these hallways. So start looking for meeting rooms and just kind of peek down a hallway and see if you see a little computer that's connected to the wall. Chances are you'll see it. Um, so there is training on the website here for how to do the witness registration information. There is a website that has like online training on all the things that you need to do to all the things that you need to do to register to become a witness. So there is that. Let's see, what am I missing? So you register there. That's the kiosk is the same place that you register to speak and to drop a card, and all of that is in the same place. So I'm going to stop. Are there any questions up to this point? Okay, I'm going to keep going. Oh, okay. I actually, you know what? I'm gonna tell you guys about one more thing. At the Capitol, a lot of times the elevators, so you walk through the main entrance and there's like elevators really close to the north doors, and there's elevators on both sides. There's on elevators on the left and the right. But I'm going to tell you all something. If you see the big staircases, you'll see staircases that go up to like the Senate chambers. Not up to Senate chambers, up to the next level up at the Capitol. Behind the staircase is another hidden staircase that goes down. So instead of waiting for the elevators, because they tend to clog up and there's lots of people and there's big lines. So instead of waiting for the elevators, just walk around, go behind the stairs and just walk down. You're going to get to where you need to be a lot faster that way if you just take the stairs. Just FYI. All right. You're going to go and you're going to testify at the Capitol. So, what else do you need to know? Well, you need to prepare yourself for a very long day. You need to arrive early, but expect the public testimony to be towards the end of the committee hearing. Sometimes the committee hearings can go very quickly, can be short, but most often it's a really long day. So make sure that you pack snacks, you bring money for food. They do have a Capitol Grill there. However, the Capitol Grill closes at 5. So you might want to go in before they close, grab a sandwich if you know you're going to be there late until the wee hours of the morning, like we were last year for a lot of like the education bills. So just remember, pack water, pack snacks, pack food. When you are at the Capitol, make sure that you register to use their Wi-Fi. They do have free Wi-Fi. You just have to select public Capitol because their internet service is terrible otherwise. It's just awful. So you definitely want to be using their Wi-Fi. All right. So just FYI, prepare your statement, what you're going to say at the committee hearing ahead of time. I strongly recommend when you prepare your statement to prepare and practice your statement. Have a 2-minute version and have a 3-minute version rehearsed. When you rehearse, you'll see, like you can go and practice when you're at the Capitol too. You can go practice in the hallways. Lots of people do that. They sit there in the hallway, they sit on a bench and they practice. They go through their notes, make sure everything sounds okay. Make sure it sounds like them. But one thing I'm going to tell you all to do and practice at home is when you practice and practice at home, you know what you're going to say. Take deep breaths. Practice and practice breathing at the same time because it's going to slow you down. And when it slows you down, then you're most likely not to make a mistake and you're going to read everything that you wrote and you're just going to feel a lot more confident if you just practice and you slow down. When you go up there and you're talking to legislators, remember to be nice, be respectful, and be courteous. Other things that you need to know is if you are testifying and you have a copy of your speech, you may want to bring a copy of your speech along with any kind of other supporting materials that you think that the legislators may need. Like if you have a bunch of stats on stuff, or you have some really good reference material that maybe the staff members don't know about, bring all of those materials and bring enough copies for every single person who sits on that committee. So you may want to figure out how many committee members are on that committee before you come. So you make sure you have enough copies. And then I always tend to bring 2 extras. Bring enough for the committee and pack 1 or 2 extras. One for me, just in case I have to mark everything up. Um, okay, so you're doing your speech, you're getting everything ready. Don't forget to be personal. Share how this legislation is going to impact you and your family or your community and why it's really important. Um, okay, don't be afraid to be unique. You can be yourself, you can be unique. You don't have to repeat what other people have already said 100 times. So don't be afraid to be unique. And then the next day, follow up with an email and email the committee members next day and tell them, like, this is my points, this was my testimony, this is who I am. Thank you so much for letting me speak. Pretty simple. All right. So you went up there, you spoke, you gave testimony, some time has passed. You're kind of wondering, like, what to do next. Well, here's what we need to do in the meantime. Keep in contact with your legislator. You need to follow your legislators, all of them. Anybody who represents you, you need to start following them on social media. You need to join their email list. Super important because they email a bunch of information to their constituents. So it's really important that that happens. You need to occasionally send an email communicating and asking if there's any changes to any bills or any issues that you're concerned about. You can also write them, again, handwritten letters because everybody likes a handwritten letter. And then periodically, not every week, not all the time, not every day, periodically call them and see if there's been an update on a particular issue or bill. Just letting you know. Okay. So, all right. Write letters to the editor. People still love reading letters to the editor in a newspaper. This is usually where the best scoop is posted on most issues that are concerning to the community where you live. So we need to discuss all different sides on these issues, and letters to the editor is super duper important. It's an effective way of communicating and influencing public opinion on a certain issue, and it's a great way to communicate to staff and legislators. Because get this, staff and legislators, they get a stack of newspapers every single morning. And the first thing at the top on their stack of newspapers is letters to the editor. They read them. The letter C editors, I mean, of course, they're in Austin. Statesman is a must, but also those newspapers where you live. It's super duper important. So we actually have letter C editor training on our website at mothersagainstgregabbott.com. You just go underneath Take Action, and you can go and you can watch our training, or you can download our instructions for how to write letters to the editor. Lift on social media. There's so many great causes and reasons to lift our legislators on social media. So here's a few ideas. You should follow all of them. You can repost their posts when it's something that you strongly believe in or you think it's important. You can share their information about those legislators with other friends, either in person, face to face, or on social media about the legislators. And then, come here, Cookie. My dog is like right here next to me. Um, then also Mothers Against Greg Abbott, we are going to be sharing some social media toolkits on issues throughout this entire legislative session. And you will be able to go online and see the toolkits and download the toolkits and share any kind of graphic and stuff from the toolkits as needed. All right, we're almost done. You can also join the Mother's Rapid Response Team. The Rapid Response Team is going to be a team that's going to get emails and texts about important Lege Advocacy issues when we need everybody out there to actually start doing something. So here's a form. We'll also put it up on our website, and then I'll also include it on the link of forms. But here's the information on where you can go to join the Rapid Response Team. Give me one sec. Okay. Next is, or I guess last, is the Mother's Report Card. So all this information that we gather all during the legislative session, all this information goes into our Mother's Report Card. So this is Vicki Goodwin's Mother's Report Card. We're planning on having a state one and a federal one this year. The federal one is going to have a different look. It's going to look a lot more like our students' report card, where it's on like a quarter basis. They have a semester, they get graded. They have another semester, they get graded. So the federal one's going to look a little bit different, but this is an example of what one looks like from the state. We list all their funders, we list all their scores on issues, and then we make remarks about, how did they vote? Could we count on their vote? Tell us a little bit about these legislators and how things went this session. So we keep track of all of that. And I'm going to stop the share for just a second. Do you all have any information? I think I need to let my dog out of my room, so go ahead and ask. I'll be right back. I just have to let the dog out, okay? Does anyone have any questions?
This is Marianne Arnold. Is
Yeah.
the little slideshow going to be available?
I'm going to put the slideshow up. I was changing some slides on it, and I think I'm going to add a couple QR codes to the slideshow. I just didn't have enough time to get them all up there today, but yeah, I was going to put the slideshow up on our website. So I'm going to
It's
do
really
that.
good.
Yeah, I'm going to do that along with the video training. So I'm recording this video right now because I'm going to put that on there all together.
Okay,
Sure.
thank you.
Uh-huh. Other things to look at are, I'm hoping, let me see if I got the right page. I was going through, okay, I do. I think I'm okay with this. Give me one second. I'm going to show you all where things are located on our website and where you can find some things on Mothers. Okay, so give me one sec. Okay. Okay, so here is the Mothers Against Greg Abbott website. You can find information underneath Take Action here, and you can find information on letters to the editor. From letters to the editor, you can watch the video training. You can download the printable. The printable is actually all of this information right here, all of it. And if you need to learn where you can find out information about the newspaper directory, you can you don't know who to contact at your newspapers, you should be able to just click on this and do a search. But I'm also going to tell you where all of the newspapers are at. So the newspapers, we have a really great thing called the Texas Democratic Directory. So you go here under resources and you go to the Texas Dems directory. So I'm going to select that. It's going to take a second. So you will notice that we are tracking a bunch of things here in Texas. We're tracking unions, television stations, radio stations, newspapers, independent school districts, county Democratic Party offices, Democratic groups and clubs, colleges, different college groups, um, public education, NGOs, PACs, and grassroots groups. So they're all listed on here. The colleges we have listed, they're mostly like the public and state colleges in Texas. And the reason that we list them is because we list how many people are, attending these colleges. These are potential voters. So it'd be good for a resource for somebody who is working on like GOTV at a college. But let's go ahead and just take a minute and look at the newspapers. So I'm going to click on newspapers and it'll pull up because there's 436 of them. It's a lot. Okay, it's thinking. Okay, this lists all of the newspapers in Texas. But let's just say you don't really want all these newspapers in Texas. So you click the search button here on the right. And in the search button, we're going to click category. We're going to go to newspapers. Let's say we just want to look at the newspapers in North Texas. So select North Texas and do a search. And this comes back with 81 results. So this is all of like that North Texas area. So Dallas, some surrounding counties. And these are all of the newspapers that are listed here. On here, we list their phone number, an email address, when a publication is published, and also, any kind of information we have about a particular publication, whether they have a website or a Facebook group, that etc. We tend to list as much information as we can about a particular newspaper. And you will see some of the information we have can vary. So this one has a website, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, but then there's some that don't have anything because I don't know. Welcome to Texas. I just, not everybody's up on all the things for sure. So this is where you can find all the newspapers if you want to do letters to the editor, that they're located there. Now let's go to social media toolkits. So from the take action here at the top, go to social media toolkits and you will see that we already have social media toolkits on so many topics. So let's go ahead and let's select vouchers. This is going to open up the social media toolkits for vouchers. So from here, we have a bunch of voucher facts. And you will notice in this pull down menu that you can download the copy and the image for X, Facebook, LinkedIn, Threads, Instagram, WhatsApp, and TikTok. We hope to be adding Blue Sky to this soon, but the update has not been updated yet. So we're waiting for that announcement any day now. But you will also notice that if you select, see how that image looks horizontal. So if we select Instagram, the image changes. Okay, so we have both horizontal images and square images, and they're all dependent on where you post them. So just be aware of that, and you can download them, and then you're able to download them, and then it automatically copies this copy at the top, copies that, and it saves it. So you're able to add that onto Instagram or wherever you want to add it. So this is everything we have on vouchers, which is quite a bit of stuff, but I definitely think that we'll be adding even more voucher facts before the education hearings begin. So here is all the fun things we have for that. So I love the social media toolkits. I would say get comfortable with them. We're also going to be posting something else. We're going to be updating underneath resources. There's a section here called Texas Ledge. It has a bunch of squares And this is, you know, a lot of the information I shared with you tonight, you can get off of this page. So you're able to find your legislators, you're able to look up the bills, you're able to link to the reference library and like Legiscan and just recently they combined both of these departments, I think, recently. So um they might look the same, but we're fixing all of this right now. We're going to be adding even more resources to this page by next week. Our web developer had an emergency, and so he will not be back in town until the end of the week. And so we just have to hold on a little bit longer. We're just, you know, he had a really serious family emergency. So we're just going to give him a few more days before we make any more updates to this section. But so much stuff is going to be on here for sure. And one of the things that's going to be on here that I love, that I think was like one of the best tools. Gosh, I don't know if this is it. Okay, no, this was it. There was a map. Okay, this is who represents me. Gosh, did I get rid of that link? Hold on a second. I was on here. Okay, so this is the reference library. So it's always a good idea to look up past bills and things like that. You can find a lot of this information here at the Texas Reference Library. This is the who represents me. You can fill this out and type it up and send that in. That's the reference library. That's a reference. Okay, this is the web page that has a bunch of information here about, you know, like that. We just discussed all that. So all of that is here. But there's actually another page that I need to share with you guys, and it has all the maps on where to go. And I just realized that I think that I closed that page. I had it on there, but let me look something up because I sent it to Rudy, who's our web developer. And I said, Rudy, I have some images that need to be updated because I really want this one page up here. So give me a second. Let me look at this. Hold on. I have it. Okay. Map. Okay, here we go. Map. Okay. Okay, I got it. All right. Let me open this up. This is the coolest thing, guys. This is amazing. To me, it's amazing because I just discovered it recently. So it has a map of the Capitol grounds, has a downloadable PDF of all the legislators, their offices, where they're located, that sort of thing. Has a map of, has the visitor guide map. You can see here, you can tell like what level everything is at, and then you'll know that the extension goes over here. Has maps of the monuments, has maps of where you pick up the buses, drop off the buses, the whole entire Capitol complex area, and then also like where to park. There's all kinds of information here about so many things. Also, just like an FYI, the Capitol's been going under a really big remodeling for the last few years. So you will notice that by the north entrance, there's a big mall right down here. And that didn't used to be there. It was a street before. But now they closed off that street and they have a big green space and they're expanding a lot of offices underground and doing lots of really good stuff over here and remodeling lots of things. So lots of good things are happening by the Capitol, and hopefully these maps will help you figure out where you need to go and where you can park. And it's just there's all kinds of stuff on here. So all the maps to all the things, we're going to be adding that to our website, and it should be up there. I'm hoping by the end of this week, and it'll be up on this section. So that should be very helpful. And hold on. And I think, let's see, I'm going to stop the share. I think that's it. Are there any questions? Anything I missed? Anything you would like me to cover that I didn't cover? You're all good? Tracy, are you good? Tracy's a pro too, because she's at the Capitol all the time as well. So,
Well, yeah, I'm great. This was excellent, Nancy. I've never seen anybody explain it so thoroughly and
oh, thank
succinctly.
you.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. And I gave you guys some hints, like
Yep,
don't wait for the elevator, go take the stairs. This is what the
exactly.
stairs are. Just things like that, like there's a lot of like little things that you don't know about the Capitol that you should know and stuff. So
Yep,
just a little
great job.
I yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.